Thanks, Madam Deputy Speaker. I must initially declare an interest due to my work in the NHS and for having had the privilege of being trained as a doctor with the availability of a grant. The National Health Service is one of our most esteemed public services. However, at present in the UK there is a long-standing shortage of qualified healthcare professionals. While the current bursary system for nursing and allied healthcare students in England may not be without issue, the UK Government's proposed changes to this as laid out are concerning. Additionally, is the matter in which these have been presented, with detailed consideration of their impact, somewhat lacking. As we have heard, the UK Government are proposing that the current NHS bursary system be changed. Instead, healthcare students will require to pay tuition fees and to be subject to the same standard loans-based system that other students in England are subject to. The UK Government have indicated that they expect these reforms to create up to 10,000 additional nurses and health professional training places over the course of the current Parliament. However, this appears to be narrow-sighted. The proposed move to a system which relies on students funding themselves by taking on debts has raised substantial concerns amongst unions, amongst professional bodies and amongst students. One of the key fears expressed is that such a move could be a barrier which deters prospective students from entering the profession. I have to say, as I stand here, the first doctor in my family, that I would not have considered applying if it had meant racking up such debt. I am particularly concerned about access to doctorate courses and for postgraduate requirements. Will we create an elite workforce, one not based upon ability but based instead upon means? Unison estimate that under the new scheme, a student undertaking a 3-year 30-week course outside of London will graduate with a debt of at least £51,600 plus interest and any overdraft and commercial debt. I will indeed.
I'm very grateful. Her own achievements as the first doctor in her family are to be applauded by all of us. But does she recognise there are a lot of people out there who actually don't think that university is for them, but for whom the apprenticeship, the 2-year apprenticeship course offered by the new nursing associates route will give a real opportunity to get into the NHS and maybe later on go on to be a full nurse?
I thank the honourable member for his intervention, and I'd like to see a widening of access into schemes in the NHS in terms of training. What I would hope is that it's properly funded and that we don't rely on our NHS staff to take other jobs whilst they're training, to undertake the stress of the training alongside having to undertake other jobs, and that we make sure we invest in them properly, letting them know that we know that the NHS staff that we have are invaluable and we want to fund them in that capacity. For many, their loans may be higher due to the additional costs from longer courses and from courses within London. And as I've already stated, I'm particularly concerned about postgraduate courses and doctorate trainees who may not be able to afford continual loans which add on to their debt. As such, it's likely that for the majority of healthcare students, the size of their debt could be considerably higher. It is naive, I believe, to think that larger loans will not be a psychological deterrent, especially to those from poorer or non-university backgrounds, or to mature students, or those who change careers, who may have additional financial responsibilities or debts from first degrees or in relation to family life. The demographic of students on nursing, midwifery and allied health professions courses tends to be different from other student populations, as we've heard. It's more likely to be women from black and minority ethnic backgrounds, parents and mature students. It's likely, therefore, and a real concern, that abolishing bursaries will reduce diversity, will foster inequality and discourage potentially high-quality applicants. I will indeed.
Thank you. I thank the member for giving way, and she's making a very, very valid, important point. And can I come back to something that the Minister said in his opening remarks? And the frustration for me whereas I was a Unison trade union rep in home care before I came into this place, and one of the things we were able to do with those women that had not been qualified before was give them access from healthcare assistant into going through into a foundation degree, vocational degree into hospitals in much the same way as what the Minister claims is not available at the moment. It's important that that route is still open and that they don't get disadvantaged by the thousands and thousands of pounds of debt that they take on at the end of that, especially mature students.
I thank the Honourable Member for her intervention, and I think indeed you've made your own point as when speaking. It is extremely important that people from all backgrounds are encouraged to enter our NHS. We have a diverse society in the UK, and we have to ensure that our healthcare staffing system reflects this and supports those from all backgrounds to enter it. I think it's also not enough just to increase numbers by creating an open market for training. In order to ensure a quality service, it is crucial that student placements are well planned, well supervised and well distributed between the various areas within the service. Therefore, much consultation will be required. In response to the Government's proposals, the Chief Executive of the Royal College of Nursing has commented, "The last thing we need are disincentives to recruitment. We should be doing everything possible to attract applicants, as the country needs more nurses now than at any other time in history." I will indeed.
The Honourable Member is making many valid points. For example, if you live in Wales and you want to study in an English university, then the proposals are to stop the bursary. But if you live in England, Scotland, or indeed Northern Ireland, and you want to study in Wales, a Welsh university, nursing, midwifery, or an allied health professional, healthcare professional, the Labour Welsh Government will pay that bursary. Now, taking that to conclusion, then the numbers will decrease in England and increase in Wales and Scotland and Northern Ireland. But my most concerning point is that the government, the UK government, did not commit to undertake an impact assessment on cross-border applications before proceeding with these changes. Does the Honourable Member think that they should have?
Many thanks. Once again, the Honourable Lady makes her own point very well. My belief is that we require to staff the NHS well right across the UK. Impact assessments may require to be considered down the line if there is a shortage as a result of this policy in England, and I hope that answers the point. In Scotland, the SNP government recognise the value of investing in our NHS, and they provide a support package which is hugely generous in comparison to England. The Nursing and Midwifery Student Bursary in Scotland provides all eligible students with a non-income assessed and non-repayable personal allowance of £6,578 per year, excluding additional allowances. This can be topped up by a range of income assessed allowances. It is also in the context of no tuition fees. There are therefore, I would argue, other examples of other ways to progress in terms of this policy. Under the SNP government, the NHS staff numbers have increased by over 10,000, and the party is committed to supporting the development of a quality health service which will meet the needs of the Scottish people, not just now only, but in the future as well. Workforce projections for this year show that more than 1,000 extra NHS staff are expected to be recruited across Scotland this year. There has been an 8.4% increase in NHS staffing to a record high. There are more qualified nurses and midwives per 1,000 population in Scotland than in England and Wales. And in the last year, Scotland has seen all nursing and midwifery staff increase by over 500 whole-time equivalents, with boards projecting an increase of over 600 whole-time equivalents over the course of this financial year. Doctors are up 26.7%, or by 2,560 whole-time equivalents, and consultants are now at a record high, up 40.3%. Every newly qualified nurse is guaranteed 1 year of employment once they complete their studies, a commitment which is not offered anywhere else in the UK. And the Health Minister, Shona Robinson, also confirmed that the Nursing and Midwifery Student Bursary and Allowance will be protected at existing levels in 2016-17. A review of the scheme is due to report in June 2016. The NHS is a crucial public service, and this government cannot continue to railroad their way through it. These are significant changes, and although reform may be needed to address current issues within the service, such decisions should not be made hastily and without full consideration of their impact and of potential workable alternatives. We have already heard about workable alternatives today. I would therefore urge the Minister to commit to a comprehensive consultation on the full proposals to determine the best way to support and invest in the service and to support its students. This is a vital workforce which we depend upon in our times of crisis. It is only right that they should be able to depend upon us during their training and when they hope to help the NHS in the future.
Order before